We are live, so good morning. So, Martin, here in the Philippines and Real Talk Lifeline. I'm here with Coach Bam Santiago of LifeKite, and we're here just gonna free flow. We're gonna have a conversation. Anyone watching the live, so feel free to comment, join in. And those watching the replay, you could still comment. So we'll read your insights too. So, quick context, why is this happening? I reached out last night to Coach Bam. I sent a message. So, here's the backstory. It was like 8 p.m. already, and I was reaching a point wherein I had meetings. I was stuck at home. And one of my friends, she was messaging me. I was like, hey, can I tell you how I really feel? Because of these meetings. And I just said, like, putang ina. Like, I want to get out. Like, I just want to get out of the house. Because it was like 7:30 already. And then another Zoom on the same day itself said, hey, we're going to have another meeting now. Like, on the spot. I was like, that's it. I just got to get out of here for my own sanity. And I'm happy I did. So, what I did was I went out, I had coffee by myself. Then I took this with me.
Mm.
So when I was like going 3 pages through my notes, so this is a seminar, yung Tony Robbins, Liquid Destiny. I took this December 2020. Third page in, I remembered you, Coach Bam. So, so the one insight that hit me, I won't go too many, no, just to keep it tight, no. The first one that hit me was my model of the world is not the only way to live. So it's like double edged because it made me realize, for me, the primary thing was it calmed me down. Let's say Coach Bam has a different approach. That's his model of the world. I have a different one. It's okay. Tony Robbins said that. It also showed me that if I have an outdated model, I can learn from you. So I can like upgrade my model of the world. So yeah, the message I sent you last night was, I'll just read it here in the Viber I sent. I was reviewing my notes. Then I said, hey, if you have a few minutes of free time, I'm open for a quick call. I know the kind of conversations we have are the type that wake me up, make me smarter, and is regenerating. So I had enough time to just be by myself. And I normally wouldn't want to be with anyone in that space now. And my brother even reached out. He was like, hey, do you want to eat with me in Commerce Center? I was like, hey, thank you for understanding. I just gotta be by myself. So I
Yep.
have time, something like that. It's actually often. So my personality type na. So I was overloaded with things. I just had to get out, and be in a different environment and space. So when I started reviewing the notes, yeah, I remembered you because the lessons were, it's different when we do it like this. It's one thing to write the notes. Then the next level I learned from a friend is she called it debriefing.
Mhm.
So that involves two people already at least or more. So it brings it on a higher level now. So yeah, I mean, I just felt like I didn't mind being in a space with someone who would understand or be on that level of thinking as well. So yeah, it was weird. I just felt like reaching out, and top of mind, you were the one I could think of.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm. I went through the
How
whole
are you now?
workbook.
How are you now?
Uh, it helped. It helped. There was also a live band. They were playing like 80s music,
Oh, nice.
like
Okay.
Hall and Oates, or
Oh, I
what
love all the
else? Like
notes.
Sheena Easton. It was
Mm-hmm.
hilarious. It's
Uh-huh.
my kind of music. So
Okay. Okay.
it helped. Self amusement. When I parked in the parking lot, it's just using a basic model Toyota Vios. As in, it's so basic. I don't even have a remote to lock it. I have to manually use the key to open the
Yeah.
door. I
Hmm.
park right beside a Lamborghini,
Hmm.
like a fresh looking, I don't know, like if it what exact model it was, but it's a Lamborghini. Looked
Hmm.
new. I found that funny, also hilarious. So
Yeah. I mean, siguro to since sabi mo naman free flow just to comment
yeah,
on
just
your
free flow. Your
yung
thoughts
yung
on
yeah,
question.
yung third page mo on the on your workbook talking about what was it? Your parang like in short, like your view of the world is not necessarily everyone's view of
Yeah,
the
the
world.
model. My
The
model of the
model.
world
Oh,
is
yeah.
not
Sa akin,
the same
uh,
as
I mean, you've traveled before, diba? To other countries.
yeah.
Like
Mhm.
what some of the countries that you've traveled to?
Well, based, yeah, the most immediate proximate would be Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong. Yeah.
Outside of Asia.
Outside of Asia, just I guess Canada, like
Okay.
Toronto.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Ang example ko dyan is you're going to see na a certain type of country or culture usually has their norms, yung ano na lang, or the way of doing things, their unspoken rules, standards, certain quality of life. Pero pag pumunta ka sa iba pang bansa and you just start seeing a different culture, a different way of living, then you just realize like my god, the way I've been living in the Philippines, because that's where we're from, parang it's like that's just one way. Example ko dito Australia. If you go to Australia, tayo we're all very, I'm just saying in general, Filipinos, like Asians, or
Yeah.
Koreans. I want not all Asians, but yeah, we're all very brand conscious. We're conscious about material stuff. Pag pumunta ka
Yeah.
sa ibang bansa, they don't freaking care, and it's very refreshing. Kasi you
Yeah.
start thinking like all this stuff that has been parang programmed into us, especially in this setting, it's just a program. Then you go to other countries, yung multimillionaire, I'll just call him a friend, but he's really like a relative in Australia. He has a lake house. He has his own jetty, his own speedboat. He drives
Wow.
this new ano yan, not a Dodge Challenger, yung a Mustang black, all this stuff. But he freaking every day he's just in shorts and a parang lumang t-shirt. But that's just how he is outside. And I'm not saying that the brands here that we're trying to flash, or for a lot of people, not you and me, I guess, no. I don't know about you, but it's just different. Parang you just realize na for many of us, we have to maintain appearances. Like sa akin ngayon, this is something that's popping up sa akin. A lot of people are so concerned with, I don't know, with how people are looking, and stuff. We're so parang ano to yung what's the word there, Martin? Yung we're so focused on externals, how people look, and all
Yeah.
that shit,
Or image.
that it's just kind of stupid for me. So parang like check on how people are doing. 'Di ba sa family, pag pumunta ka sa family, sa akin, oh, ang payat-payat mo. Iba naman pamilya, oh, ang taba-taba mo. Oh,
Yeah.
ganito but versus what? I'm actually gonna do a live on this. Versus like, how are you doing? How's life? Or and going deeper than just how people look, so iba-ibang ang culture, iba-ibang ways of expressing it, but
Yeah.
also another thing I've been reflecting on is the toxicity of people in general. And sa akin, since we're just free flowing on my reflections, uh, you have to clearly discern. I think number one for yourself, what values and standards you want to have in your life for you, because you can adopt anything. There's this
Yeah.
thing, I don't know if you're familiar with minimalism. Have you heard of it?
Yeah. I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, so like minimalism is like get rid of all the shit, like get rid
Yeah.
of all
I
all
love
the
that.
stuff that you. So
Live
pwede
light.
naman yung ganun But there are some
Mhm.
people who are saying, "Oh, minimalism, no, like we're maximalists. We want to max out everything." Okay, so but see, it's just a way of thinking and doing things. But yun nga, mahirap lang i-impose yung gusto natin sa where other people are at. So for me, that's why when I'm doing these programs and seminars, I I deal directly with people who are just really depressed or suicidal, or they don't find any joy in life anymore. And that's where I've dedicated yung life ko to, just bringing a little bit of light into other people's life, because I know what that's like. But we've talked about that, but I'm very clear about my path and where I'm going. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just wonderful pag na-establish mo na, how would you want to define life. And ako, like, I want to define it as, like, last night I ate in this restaurant sa Aura. They just had like the
Mm-hmm.
best basil tofu. Oh my god, it was so good. I just got one rice. I was sitting there with carrot. I was just so happy, and
Yeah.
sabi ko, "Oh, this is such a cheap meal." And but I then today later today, God willing, I'm gonna have a cup of hot chocolate, to Mary
Mm.
Grace, and
I
like,
love
yeah, there's
that. I
free
love that
advertising.
one
So,
with the grilled cheese
that's
roll.
I just, yeah, exactly. Then for me, it's just finding those moments for yourself. Like, ikaw, it was your coffee or the bat. Finding those moments in your life where it just makes you, I don't know, smile. Like you've been laughing and you're smiling. Diba? Like if you're enjoying something and you share it with someone, they naturally
Mm-hmm.
will just smile. Like life can be so simple, eh. Or it could be, kanina I did my walk and I was walking in the sun. Sobrang sarap. Like, wow, this is so good. And I'm just like, holy crap, I just feel amazing. Pag makahanap ka ng ganun, those just moments that just makes you smile and happy. And
Yeah.
then, that's step one. Number two for me, um, yeah, like I went to this meeting yesterday. It was just crazy, fantastic you meeting. You know what that meeting was about. And sabi ko, like, holy crap, these manifestations and these things happening, it's
Mm-hmm.
just amazing. When I'm in a space of gratitude, first I get overwhelmed kasi for me, I call it, as Joe Dispenza calls it also, God showing up. Diba sabi ko nung LifeKite, like God is, we are not expecting it, that's God, eh. And I respect people's beliefs, but that's my experience of spirituality. And when it's unexpected, I'm like, holy crap, this is just, it's crazy. Be careful what you ask for, because some people might be meditating and they're like, God, like, I want to feel you, I want to see you, I want to experience you, and something happens. But a lot of people will say, see, who's this doctor? One of my favorite, letting go, the pathway of surrendering. See, David Hawkins talks about this. Sabi
Mm-hmm.
niya, something miraculous will happen in our lives, and it touches your heart, but the head goes, "Oh no, it must be a coincidence. Oh no, that just might be that this." And then nawawala eh. Di ba, Martin? I always talk about the head and the heart eh. So,
Yeah.
and
The heart.
we miss so many of those miracles because we're so analytical. We have to process everything, but it doesn't leave room for God to come in, eh, or spirit to come in. And as I shared again last week, for me, God's spirit is where connection, first of all, to your heart and happens. Pag disconnected ka sa heart mo, that's where you break down, where you get stressed. And I try to keep reminding people, especially those I'm coaching, na watch lang when you're going through life and you're doing things out of a routine, you know, because the memorize mo na siya and you just want to go through it. But versus, like, what are these things that I'm doing, and am I present in what I'm doing, and does it bring me joy? So dun muna
Mm-hmm.
ako sa free talk natin.
Yeah. We can go back and forth. So what you just shared, life kite. Just going on that thought, no, of my model of the world is not the only way to live. Life kite is teaching me a different model. It's more of the compassion. You keep emphasizing the heart. So come with kindness and compassion, like that, and then get out of the head. So
Ah,
the way,
sorry, Martin. Sorry, to interrupt, but to
yeah, go.
emphasize that. Sabi mo, but coach, why are you sharing about the heart? Because I've seen people operate in the head. It's causing a
Yeah,
lot of disease. It's causing a lot of pain and suffering and suicide and hurt. Lalo na when you're there, because you're processing in your head how miserable you are and how miserable life is, and then you start feeling emotionally. Diba how you think, feel and act becomes who you
yeah.
are. um but people stop forgetting it, and ako, I've seen this in so many coaching conversations. When people just go to the heart and they see how they can love and appreciate themselves, everything shifts it. But the head will say, hey, you're not a millionaire. Hey, you don't have your own team. Hey, you don't have this car. Hey, you don't have this house. Hey, you don't have this body. Hey, you don't have the boyfriend. You don't have the girlfriend. Hey, you're gay. Hey, you're this. I mean, wala na eh. You get messed up in your head eh. But to just go back to
Yes.
your heart and say, whoever I am, wherever I am, as long as I'm not doing anything, illegal, immoral, or something that's hurting myself and hurting other people, then and it brings me joy. That's why I share about the heart eh. But otherwise, I'll just say, stay in your head. I'll let people stay in their head if they literally go to me and say, Coach, I want to kill myself. Coach,
Yeah.
I'm very unhappy. And bumibigay sila sa seminar. You've seen it naman in the seminar. For me, my
Mm-hmm.
role is to just give people an opportunity. What would it feel like to go here? Oh my God, it feels like it's healing. It's great. And then after a while, if people don't work on themselves, they go back. Diba? Babalik lang sila sa dati
Oh
because
my gosh,
the program has
everything
been
is connecting.
yeah, it's so firm yung program eh. My role when I can is just to remind people the heart is still there. And for me, the heart is God. The heart is universe, it's spirit, it's connection. And it changes how you feel it, not how you
Correct.
think. How you think, pwede mo, you'll never stop processing it. So sorry, I just had to jump in and explain why that's the
Yeah,
process
man.
sa life kite eh.
It's like a lightning bolt of blitzing. So I just want to connect it before I forget,
Sige.
because
Sige,
that
sige,
is a
sige.
model. The heart is a model. So let's say here, I won't go super deep. So let's say four categories of consciousness. So there's egocentric. We get that. That's the lowest. Ethnocentric. The way I would quickly put that is like tribal. Third is world centric, and then the fourth category is spirit centric. I don't know if you and I would push it at world centric. I don't know if you're spirit centric. Spirit centric is like you care about all animals and the plants. Like I'm not on that level. Like if a plant dies, you feel bad. Like I'm not on that level. So maybe
Okay.
world centric. Like you care about other people like that. And then the last thing, I won't go super deep. I don't know if you heard of spiral dynamics. So their
No, I haven't.
colors, it's not just the four levels. So there are eight, and then it goes from it follows ego, ethnocentric, world centric, spirit. So they're different colors. So the reason why I felt like sharing that related to model, the heart, is, for example, to make it real. Let's say you have a different way of thinking. Bob Proctor calls it like a paradigm. It's just a different way of thinking. So, or model, mental model.
Correct.
Let's say you value feedback, you have high awareness, and another person is just like, no, I just have to work on my self love. They're in a different um model of life. They're in a different level of consciousness. So the reason why that line hit me was it kind of made me more patient with people, I guess. Because I remember my friend, right? Like he was ranting and he's like saying, "Oh, you're trying to hide behind mental health. If you grow up to 40, you're going to be a man child." In my head, I'm like, if I saw him or I saw a person struggling with depression, I wouldn't say that to them because the words could be logical, but I don't feel love. That's not the tone. That's not the emotion I feel when it was like said, even through chat. So, and I've heard him speak in person. So it's like out of anger or something like that. So yeah, that line just hit me more. It helped me like coexist like that. Even my family, I guess, it's like they just want like just stay at home. I'm going crazy here. I gotta get out. So in like the room, in the room. So the change of environment like kept me sane, like just for my own mental emotional uh recharge the last night. So some people, and like here's the thing, nothing personal. Let's say my dad's walking the dog and he's pulling the dog like the leash. Like the dog looks like it's getting choked, right? So I can say that, hey, I don't like the way you do things because you're forcing things, and that could, you know, can't you feel how the recipient would be, especially if the dog's trying to take a dump, right? Like you pull the neck, you won't be able to do it, right? So when I understood that line, like my model of the world is not the only way. Uh, it helped me let go faster. So, and who am I, right? If I say my model is right, someone can say you're a pushover. You're not as aggressive. Like you're not putting yourself out there as much as Coach Bam is, something like that, right? So it helped me lang understand things more. Like just people are at different levels of consciousness. And there's one line here that was very helpful. I think it was Tony Robbins who said, once you reach the higher levels, you can always backslide. That's like the norm. But the good thing is if you've reached that highest level, there's a way to go back to it. So I think if you ever heard that line, right, once you see behind the curtain, it's very
Mhm.
hard to unsee. Like once the mind is
Absolutely.
expanded.
No,
So
no, absolutely. Kaya nga, for a lot of people, this is what shifts you from being a victim to, and when I say victim as a mindset, because once you've
yes,
already shifted and seen how, I share all of this, man, Martin, from personal experience, and I say it's my experience, and if it's not
yeah,
useful for you, don't use it. But based on track record, it's helped a lot of people.
it
You know,
works.
but that I think it works. That's why I'm still doing the job, the work.
Yeah,
It works. Because also ina-apply ko din sa lahat ng na nakausap ko, na family members included. It's a certain way of thinking. It's a certain way of being. Actually, that's why it's beingness. It's a certain way
oh
of
yes,
being. Not just
level
thinking.
two.
Yeah, but it works kasi I don't know, for me, if people, tama yung sinabi mo, like if people could just find rest for their souls, their weary souls in a moment, that's beautiful, right? Because a lot of
Mhm.
people are tuloy-tuloy yung I'll just use it as a metaphor. Tuloy-tuloy yung demonic experience nila. The demonic attacks are every day. It's demons when they wake up. It's demons when they go through their day. It's demons at night. It's demons when they dream. So, kamusta
Correct.
naman yung tao na yun? You know?
Yeah.
So, for me, and I've been there, and it's a terrible, terrible way to live. Kaya ako, again, going back, yeah, it's just sharing that got glimpses of that light, and it's wonderful. It heals
Hmm.
the body. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Hindi ka mag-heal if you're in chronically stressed. May kita mo that's what's killing you also, along with other things, of course. Your diet, your lack of sleep, etc., etc. But that's a major thing, eh. Your people are chronically stressed. Umiiksi yung buhay nila, and it's like, oh, wasted life, wasted. And for me, I think, I don't know if it's a paradigm, but it goes back to be valuing life, eh. Because I don't know if you've experienced losing someone, but I lost someone very dear to me when I was just 19, you know,
Yeah.
and
You shared
I
that.
know that pain, eh. So that's another thing that sort of like gets me going to want to help people. Like, we think, no,
Wow.
okay, na to, I'll do it next month, I'll do it next year. I mean, you experience some aspect of death also in our
Yeah, I think
exercises,
that
but
was your sister, right? I believe when you
yeah,
shared
correct.
that.
Yeah. So yun, it just makes you think, like, hey, you gotta wake up. You think that, oh, I have time, I'll do it next year. Or really, like, 3 months has already passed etong year na to. What's the next
Yeah.
3 months gonna be like for you? And so on. But not coming from pressure, but coming from waking up. It's for me,
Correct.
like, if you have an opportunity to wake up, it'll bring a lot of light inside of you, and it'll bring a lot of light to everyone around you. Everyone in your family is going to be affected by the light. Everyone in your business is going to be affected by the light, and in a very positive, enriching way. So, yeah.
Yeah. Coach Bam, can I ask you for a super big favor right now? And this
Uh,
is live, so this is not scripted or anything. So I gotta take a massive piss. That's 30 seconds, just 30 seconds.
mhm.
So
Sige,
the
I'll wait
the
for you.
next thought that I wanted to share was this: we create pain when we try to control, and control is an illusion. So that's one of the lines
Correct.
Tony Robbins said. No, it's like about control.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you can free flow on that, like 30 seconds. I just have to take a super quick piss. I don't think people want to see me in the bathroom.
Okay. Sige.
Yeah, so it's control as an illusion, or we create pain the more we try to control people. So I'm gonna be back in a flash.
So habang umiihi si Martin, free flow on the illusion of control. For me, my experience with control, and he probably can hear me, is that a lot of the control is fear based, meaning you want to control people, you want to control life outcomes. But it's also, for me, in my experience anyway, it's it's directly connected to ego. Ego's biggest fear is dying. It's identity dying, and many times it's reflected in our relationships. It's reflected in our how we live, and ego doesn't want to die, and ego will try to control. But also, if makikita mo yung pinakadulo ng wanting to control life situations and other people, it's fear based. I've got
Yep.
it. Why? Because if you're out of control, well, where do you end up? Oh, I'm afraid. I'm so afraid. Um, not having control of this and that thing. So yun pala eh. But what if you get to shift the fear? And for me, it's also mainly about energy. If I get to shift the energy from fear to love or faith or inspiration, you just live differently, and your need to control. So by the way, that's also outcome. I want my partner to be like this. I want my dad to be like that. I want my mom to be this. I want my boss to be that. I want my industry to be this. But it's not. You know, it's the way you interpret everything that's happening for you. It's just parang life eh.
Wow.
We're all dealt this parang uh our experience of life, and it's how you interpret it. And one of the biggest things sa akin, I keep sharing this in my programs also. 2010, I was in the hospital with my partner at the time, and she was very sick. But sabi ko, it's one of the moments in my life where I was crying out of joy, because I felt God's presence and love that was also Christmas, just being alone there. And that gave me parang a a snapshot of what life can be like anywhere, where a lot of us will say, I'll only be happy when these have to, ito yung circumstances, everyone has to be healthy, everyone has to have money, everyone has to hindi it doesn't matter. It can be na the circumstances no longer dictate how you're going to choose to experience life. I'm just breaking up a bit.
Yeah, yeah. I could still hear your audio clear.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So yeah.
you what you just said connected with the next line I wrote in my notes in the workbook. It said the only thing we can control is the meaning I give it. So
There you go.
in your experience, like let's say I see my dad, and I don't know if I got my control freak side from him, like he's a banker economist. So he's like pulling the dog, and I'm like, wait, the dog wants to, like, it's time for the dog to, like, crouch and take a dump, right? So if we can't control other people, how do I shift the meaning of fear or control into something like you said, love, or a different meaning like that?
Are you asking me a question?
In your experience, let's say you have a partner, and then you could see it, like, it would be really good if this person learned how to take feedback, but the other person, they're in a different headspace, right? We can't control them. They're just, no, I get it already, like that, right? So what's the best way to shift the meaning, or like the way we treat the other person? Because for me it
Um,
happens often, actually.
yeah,
Like
well,
every
sinabi
day.
din ni isa, no, since you're on Anthony Robbins's workbook, sinabi niya dito, 'di ba? Trade your expectation for appreciation. So instead of expecting people to be a certain way, or to speak a certain way, or to think or like you, they have to think
Mhm.
like me, they have to get what I like. They just, what can I appreciate about this relationship? What can I appreciate about people? In this context? then you just let go of that, and then it brings you peace. But the moment you want to control again, oh, they have to be
Yeah,
deep like me. We call that the ego needs. Ego need for people to get it. Ego need for people to wake up. Ego need. Oh, I don't care. I mean, you're in the program. If you wake up, that as a metaphor,
yeah,
I say that's great. And if you don't, I'm like that's wonderful. But at least you experience. See, that's my lack of need to control. But a lot of people say no. Oh, people have to cry. People have to do this. People have to change. I'm like, well, there's your need to control again. There's your
correct,
expectation
correct.
that you're projecting on other people again. Nothing has to happen, but you're the one creating it. Oh, I'm not crying. Well, who said you have to cry? Oh, I don't have a breakthrough. So who said you had to have a breakthrough? So these are things again that you're imposing on yourself, and you're expecting, oh, this and that, and you get more
Yeah,
stressed. Yeah.
it's actually what I'm currently going through. Yeah, in my career, my work. Um, Sometimes even in the live, like it's weird because it's like I'm in a weird flux, or it's like there are times when I'm expecting or trying to control, and then I have to like let go. I'm like just let Coach Bam flow like that, or I don't have to like it doesn't have to be perfect. Like the next quote I have to say, it's like fine, just let it flow. It's weird. It's not like a perfect. It's like a freaking wave. Like okay, I got it. Oh, and then it's like let go, and then the control comes back. So
Sabi ni Eckhart Tolle yan eh. And when I'm quoting, I quote it because I don't throw quotes around. It's stuff that I actually practice and believe. So he
I like the
said,
power
we
of now.
yeah, we suffer because we think that the present moment is not enough. Like we think what's happening now, it has to be better. There has to be different. I don't like the situation I'm in, and I still suffer through this. Then
Mhm.
people will remind me. Karen reminds me, or I catch myself. I'm like, oh my god, but there are moments like now I'm smiling like, well, this present moment is perfect the way it is. And when I do that, I literally feel it in my body. Like every organ, every cell will just say like, thank you. Now we can all just relax. But for people, why we're so stressed and tensed up, is because we're saying there's something wrong with this present moment. It can't be this way. It has to be different. But if you are, I would say, if you're guided by something that leads you to changing it with joy and inspiration, sabi ni Joe Dispenza yan eh, you can change either in a state or space of joy and inspiration, or in pain and suffering. So a lot of people, including myself, unfortunately, we choose pain and suffering first. When I'm already in so much pain and suffering, like, coach, help me. Coach, what can I do? But
Yeah,
if
yeah,
maunahan mo
true.
na siya, then you can change in a space of joy and inspiration. um and you no longer will be in that undesirable situation, because some people will say, oh, coach, I have poor health, ganito na lang, so but I'll accept it, it's my present. Yeah, you're accepting it, but you're also not allowing yourself to die. You take action then. Di ba? You take action, and parang siguro nilagyan ka ng tae sa mukha mo. Sabi mo, may tae ako sa mukha ko. I'm just gonna accept it, coach. It's the
Like leave it
don't be
there.
don't be stupid. I mean, hugasan mo yung mukha mo. 'Di ba? You're liking this, ah? Like,
That's
don't
a
be
graphic
stupid. Like,
example.
yeah, I know you like stuff like that. So what I'm saying is take the appropriate action that you need to
Hmm.
take. So
Oh,
whatever it is, and you make it better.
there's another line that just hit me. It reminded me because LifeKite is on the compassion, the heart side. Tony Robbins said, "The goal is not to judge others, to feel significant or virtue signaling," which is related to control, right? It's related to control. It's like we're expecting or forcing them to adopt our model or believe what we want to. So the last line is on the goal. It's to create compassion. So
Wow.
again, it's not like I'm plugging LifeKite again because I took Unbounded, the level one. I took Beingness, the level two, just last January this year. So the whole compassion thing is it's like I'm learning it through levels. So one of my mentors, so Owen Cook, the guy in the middle of the dream board, when he made the Russian dolls analogy or example, it's like whenever we level up or expand, grow bigger, what I love about his example is we can go back to the smaller Russian dolls. So that reminded me of egocentric, ethnocentric, not everyone's gonna be world centric, right? Not everyone
That-
will care
yeah.
because you've been to Mongolia, you've been to other countries, right? Not everyone will care about the world, right? Or other countries or other races or even just other social classes. So they're just stuck to their tribe or they're just stuck to themselves, right? So the Russian doll thing kind of helped me understand like, oh, so this is where they're at. This is their level of consciousness. It helped me like not try to control them also. So my challenge is the compassion. Like I don't know how you um go to that level with the amount of people or clients you've met. Because sometimes I'm like, man, how the hell do I help this person? Like I'm not trying to change their life like a puppet master. It's like, how the hell do I help this person? Like,
Yeah. Sa akin, one way, Martin, is by reminding them to check on unrealistic expectations that they've set for themselves.
mm,
That's a major one. Like that's why a lot of people are
unrealistic
depressed. Eh.
expectation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, my expectation is I shouldn't be depressed. My expectation is I should be like this. Like, but what are you experiencing? You're struggling. Yeah. So what is that like? But it shifts energetically. That's why I say it doesn't shift in the head. Eh. If it shifted
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
head, all people will say, pare, isipin mo lang yung mga good thoughts. Oh, okay. Okay na ako. It doesn't work
It's the
that
way
way.
you
Eh.
deliver it. Um,
Exactly. But that's why, Martin, that's why I'm
mhm.
saying it's energy exchange. Eh. It's not like itong conversation. It's a conversation, but at the same time, there's an intention of sharing um, energy. And for me, it's when I converse with people, if people get to understand that, the energy is healing. Eh. But it goes both ways. Yun ang maganda eh. The energy is replenishing on both ends eh. Nagre-replenish siya eh. Gerald Bernstein talked about this in his book, Love is Letting Go of Fear. And he's saying there are some people who give out of ego, and ang illustration niya, bigay ka parang full tank yung love tank mo ng puro hearts, and as you're giving, nababawasan. But when you
Yeah,
start giving from a space of love and joy and inspiration, ito yung taki ng heart, as you're giving, it keeps just growing and growing and growing. But a lot of
wow.
people don't get that energetically. It's not a concept, it's something in your heart that for me, I realized that it can be a lonely journey, Martin, eh, like life. And by the way, I have siguro mga 15 minutes left sa
Yeah,
chat.
yeah, sure.
Um,
You have
yeah.
like an
So
11.
yeah, but ano to, life can get lonely. Why? Because many times you will have like after this, you will have your own aha moments. You're like, shit, that was really good. You might not necessarily have people to share it with, diba? Not
Yeah.
necessarily. It kind of gets freaking lonely. Like, wow, like holy shit, who do I want to share it? But like, so there are moments in your life. There will be many where you're like, that's
Mhm.
why I say connect to God or connect to Source, and you say God source, like you feel my joy, you feel all this learning, all these aha moments, and I'm glad you're sharing it with me and with other people.
Yes.
But many times gaganon ka lang eh. No one can, like when I was in Mongolia, after I did a seminar there, paglabas ko, imagine doing a seminar, a program. When I went out, it was snowing, and like holy crap, like who do I share this freaking joy with? Like I'm doing a seminar in a country where it's snowing. Never in a million years would I have thought na I'd be like that, or
Yeah,
in
I
Thailand
saw your
after I did,
video. Just the
yeah, like after
airplane.
I did, yeah, or that one, like, I saw that palanding, like, oh, this is amazing, and I'm here to bring LifeKite. I'm like, who the like that? Holy crap! But also
Yeah, yeah.
when I'm there, go ahead, yeah.
I had to love that video. That's why I was
Ayaw
like,
nga sinabi mo
not
nga
that
pala.
like a joke, right? It's like I can only like it because the FB tech was acting up. I couldn't just like it because I was like, I could see mountains with snow, even though I wasn't there, right? To witness it in person. I
Holy
was like,
crap!
this is epic. So at
It
least you
is.
shared that, right?
I've never ever seen anything like that. Like palan, I've gone to a lot throughout like madaming trips and stuff like that, but I've never
Yeah.
ever landed in any place ever. I've seen snow before, but never yung palanding ako, and then all the
You,
mountains are
you
covered
you
in snow.
reminded me of another line there, and it's just all connecting. It's all threading. The reason why I did the live is this. We could have just called. It would have just been our own little secret, right? But then the line that hit me is, you can't take somebody to a place that you have not been. But you have been to places
Yan. Well, so sorry.
emotionally,
I have to.
physically, spiritually,
God, that is such a deep, deep,
and you're
deep, deep.
sharing it now. That's why I wish
Yeah,
people could feel it. So,
yeah.
and then there's another line here. Like I gotta find this one. It's like, yeah, this one. If I want to change you, I have to change me. So it's like in a relationship. Some people think you like if one person can change the relationship if you change you. So I found that empowering because if the other person don't want
Absolutely.
to change, yeah, I could still change you.
Absolutely. Yes, but yun lang naman yung may, what you have control over eh. Byron Katie talks about that, diba?
Mm-hmm.
Your business, other people's business, and God's business. Ang problema sa madami sa atin, nakikialam tayo sa business ng ibang tao eh. Martin thinks the way he thinks, and God bless you, Martin. That's great. I'll think the way I think because that's my business eh. You know, but
Yeah,
a lot of people will say, Martin, you have to think like me. You have to adopt this way of thinking. Hindi. You know, and so for me, what happens for me, there's just so much lightness. And that's the word I want
yeah,
to like impart saying it. There just be so much lightness and
yeah,
life will just be
it,
so much lighter.
yeah, and you emphasize the heart. Jim Rohn said this line there because people think of the mind, right? But he said if ever you think of yourself or the mind, he calls it enlightened self-interest. So that's the enlightened part.
I
So
like that.
he said, where everybody wins and nobody loses. I got goosebumps when I heard that the first time. So it's possible to think about yourself, but in an enlightened way. So, and then there's obviously the heart that comes in. So you could have your different goals and plans for life, kite. But then if there's like a higher order, that's the term I would just use for it, like the mission, all that stuff, then we would still get along somehow. So that's like the enlightened part of it. Then the heart,
Hmm.
well, you'd feel it, eventually. So yeah, I mean, it just all threaded. That hit me just last night because I reviewed my workbook, and yeah, I think the more people see glimpses of that, like when you share your stuff of Mongolia, people don't know a lot of the stuff you've done because I've sat in You're Unbounded. I've sat in or I experienced Beingness, the level 2. Uh, so I'm just one example of someone who's been through it. If somebody sees it, who knows, right? Their experience could be more powerful or just different. So the more people see that, they see it's possible. I believe they could see it because I see stuff even when you go live or now. What I don't get though is like I see your dark sides. I don't know how you like when it comes to people though. You have that side where you can facilitate. I don't know what the term is. Like you have that mode that you could listen to them still. Because like when I'm going nuts and I try to talk to someone, I think they're just gonna feel that also, right? Like I just might tell them to fix their fucking face or something like that. But then you have a way still of like facilitating. So that's for me that's a very different side that I'm learning from life, right? I mean, if ever you see an interview of like David Goggins or something like that, that's the style that I would get. Like the way he talks to people or the way he treats mentors, like that. So like if he says you want to be my mentor, so do you do it? No, um, get the fuck out of my face. He's like that,
Hmm.
he's that
Yep.
direct.
Yep.
So I guess you have more of the compassion or the people skill side.
Yeah,
Just
ako iba-ibang personalities, iba-ibang approach eh. But for me, it's been
mhm.
working for me. When I say it's been
Yeah,
working, based on result, I've been able to reach thousands and thousands of people. But more importantly than the thousands of people, yung very private coaching that I do. I think that's where yun yung ano eh, and the breakthroughs that people are having. I think that's the important thing. Eh. Those
that's
individual coaching sessions.
that's even
Yeah,
more
like diba,
intimate.
Yeah, like yung one client ko, 4 sessions, she was discharged out of the psychiatrist's office. I mean, she didn't have to see the psychiatrist anymore. And so is there a
Yeah,
place
that's
for that? Absolutely. But I'm saying ito na eh. There's a way that can help that is just not the non-traditional way, if we want to put
I
it that
believe
way.
that, Coach Bam. Like that's
Yeah.
the kind of healing I want. And I have nothing against doctors, meds and all. If it worked, but if it didn't, and then it doesn't, and then they're charging you like this extortion amount of money, and then they don't even know what the hell they're doing. That's when I started, going towards functional medicine, the alternative approaches.
Yeah.
Um, I became open yet to unbounded that time, just for my own healing. So I'm very much in agreement and open to that. And yeah, even not those one-on-one intimate sessions, people do come to you, like the unbounded batches. They're kind of big, diba? They're like getting bigger, like 20, or I don't know, diba? Like bigger rooms. So yeah, that's really cool, naman. I don't know like your backstory of how you earned the right, diba, to get to that. How many years, diba, took to build that? But that's like your gift,
I think for earn the right, ito importante.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people will say, and I don't have nothing against certification courses and stuff like that, but a lot of people say, if I have the certificate, now I've earned the right. It doesn't work that way. Eh. It's
Yeah, I
it's
also believe
it's
that. Yeah, I've seen a
it's
lot of people with certificates, and like you're even more credible than they are.
um yeah, you well, with the thing about that, sa akin, it's still like this. It's people will sit down with you, 'di ba? I shared it also na they'll talk with you, and then they'll say, sige, like, people have to like you first eh. That's so important eh. Pag mayabang
Mhm.
ka, pag mayabang ka, maangas ka, ano to, just people are usually repelled by that eh. So I'm
Yeah,
not saying hindi ako mayabang. I have my own version of that as well. I have all eh. I know that eh. But for a lot of people, they think, that I'll show you all of these accomplishments, how great I am. That's why I can help your people. Ako, I don't approach it that way. I just say I care so much for people, and this is how broken and hurt I was, and this is what helped me heal. Let me help you
yeah,
people. You see how different that is? But
yeah.
that's
It's
step
more
one eh.
powerful. The heart
Yeah,
story.
but exactly. But step two is, oh, ayan na yung mga tao. And I told this kay Royce, sige, you guys want to get paid doing this? Okay, here's a class. Do a workshop, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Give me your rate. Will it be effective? They're like, no, no, I can't. Oh, there you go. So
Will it be
you have a
effective? Well, that's the
meaning
test.
that's a test. Meaning, will they engage with you?
Yeah,
Will the
yeah,
participants have break? Not that like, hey, I'm a facilitator, pay me. Okay, so here's a class. What are you gonna do, Martin, if ikaw mag-facilitate? Example lang or what are you
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
a lot of people will say, yeah, coach, I want to facilitate, I want to get paid. Okay, here's a client. What will they say about you? What will they experience about you? Is the client mismo going through the breakthrough? Do they feel your sincerity, credibility? But is it also effective in how ako yun lang, that's just the track record that I have eh. I go to Mongolia, I go to Thailand, everything is translated. They have no freaking idea who I am, except for, oh, Coach Bam, they're saying it in their own language, this and that. Who cares? They don't care. But the moment you open your mouth and it's being translated, but they feel your
They feel it.
nonverbal energy as well. They feel it eh. Hindi nga ako,
Yeah,
I don't speak Thai or Mongolian, pero yun. But they feel the eyes, I told you energy eh. And then, my first class there, diba sabi ko, 60 participants sa Mongolia. It was translated class, but everyone's crying, everyone is laughing, everyone is going through break. Like, how the fuck does that happen? Because,
did you
but
learn that the energy, like the way
Uh,
you
I,
feel?
I, I yeah, I developed it over the years, working with
Okay,
people,
okay, okay. Because
And,
yeah,
and I'm
that's
discerning,
not
sabi ko,
normal.
observe people. So you observe how Martin speaks.
Yeah,
Okay, how are people reacting when he speaks? Is he connecting? Or is he just saying stuff in his head na to look smart, to look good? Yung papogi ba? Alam mo yan, di ba? That's the ego need to look good,
yeah.
to be
It's
liked.
very foreign to me, because it's not reactive the way you do it. Like how people are people pleasers. So they just look at all of your reactions, diba? The way you do it is very different, the energy. So,
Ah,
by the way, Coach Bam, I respect your time then. It's
uh,
10:45.
yeah,
Like we're flowing here, and I got curious.
I know.
So,
No, no, maybe one last thing siguro.
yeah, yeah, go.
But
Like, what do you want to let out?
I like what Joe Dispenza does, and I want to kind of go that way only because I resonate. This is where eventually I want to take LifeKite. Well, actually, I'm already doing it. Like even with your classes, even with your classes, I'm like, sige, I have a structure. Of course, I can't just make you go to a room and say, oh, what are we gonna do? I don't know. Let's just sit around. But I eventually want to get to that space where, um, I'm kind of there already, but more exploring it right now, where you get to a space and you watch something spontaneous and organic to happen. I call it inviting God to the space, and that's for me has always worked. Meaning, if you believe in being is as the creator, whatever paradigm you have about life and how it started, but being as the creator, as the one responsible also to helping us do our breathing, which you don't even notice, the body, you're just breathing. But as you're
Yeah,
connected to being, um, so being is alive, being is there. When I go to do my classes, I go there and I connect to being, and I
wow,
pray for you guys, and I'm like, I don't know what they're going through, but being God show up and do something, and may notice mo all these things that have been happening. Your first class sa Unbounded dito, that's all I pray, and then I say being use me in this particular class. Help me help these people who are suffering loss, who are going through suicide, depression, looking for meaning in life. And being always shows up. And even in Mongolia,
wow,
that's what I prayed. Sabi ko, God, I don't know what this class is going to be like. It's translated. There's going to be a delay. I have to. They don't even read English, but I will still draw. I'm drawing symbols, of course, to represent all of these things, diba?
yeah,
So nag-a-adjust ako um, and then being will show up. I did level 2 in Mongolia. 3 days
wow,
yun. And they're like, how the fuck, coach, did were you able to do that? All those things were so
yeah.
intense.
It's more intense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
The
but it
accountability.
worked. It worked. So the chairman of the company nagcha-translate sa akin, the main chairman of the company. Sabi niya kasi, I know, she said she's worked with sino to si Success Magazine, that guy, Success Inc.
See,
Very
no, Richard
famous guy.
Dan.
No,
Success
Success
Magazine.
Magazine. He's been invited by nag-guest na siya ni Tony Robbins sa ano niya. He used to be the editor-in-chief of Success Magazine. Anyway,
Mm,
she's worked directly with that guy. So
wow.
so sabi niya sa akin, Bam, I understand your mindset. I know what you're trying to do. I'm the only one who can translate what you're trying to do. So we're not going to hire a translator. So mismong CEO
Wow.
nung company, the chairman
What
rather,
the
is the one
heck?
translating for me. But it
That's
was
so
so
magic.
effective. Kasi, but you'll also see, pag sumisigaw na ako when I'm doing that, she'll also do that in Mongolian, just
Yeah, yeah.
shouting, and
You would
it was it
embody
was
it.
it was so great. And then she goes at the end of day one, okay, but by day two, sabi niya, like, this is just so good. Sabi niya, oh, she speaks English. Sabi niya, this is amazing. And she's one of those people who told me, in Mongolia, ngayon ko lang naalala tong story that I get goosebumps. For Unbounded, I did Unbounded there. I was
Yeah.
doing Mommy Daddy. In the middle of Mommy Daddy, she goes to me, and she's very well known in Mongolia. She's like a ano to? What do you call it? She's a well-known person in
Mhm.
Mongolia. Um, she goes to me, she holds my hands, and she looks at me while people are going through their process. She says, "Promise me you will keep doing this work." In the middle of our module, she
Wow.
holds my
What
hands and she
the?
says, "Look at me. Promise me you will keep doing this work." And I said, like, I promise, But see the impact for
Yeah.
someone in another country. And last na to, like, I just want to go to the flow. Two sessions that I had there, I had two different translators for the program. When I'm doing my processes, two of them, while I'm trying to say something, both of them broke down, meaning they couldn't
Ooh.
translate. They just started crying. Then I had to go to them, breathe, breathe, and then they're like, "Oh my god!" So that's for me. That's spirit. It's not me.
Yeah.
Spirit touches their hearts. And then I tell them to breathe. We have a seminar. There's people here. Can you do it? Keep breathing. Okay, let's go back again. They'll get tissue. Then they'll translate. But that's how powerful the process can be, Martin, eh. Bago pa pumasok dun sa tao, it hits the
Man,
translator and they freaking like, holy crap, they get that, eh. I like that you're
I
smiling.
was getting
That's
goosebumps for you, eh? Because
well,
it's like
that's the process.
you didn't lose your wits, eh? Like these guys are choking up, and then you're like, they're the translators, and you're like, you're supporting them. It's like you're supporting the people who are supporting the people. So I'm like, whoa,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
this is wild, man.
yeah.
In
I think,
Mongolia.
yeah. One day I'll invite you, bro. You gotta fly with me there. See the work there.
It's
It's
scary. Yeah.
pretty
This is a
fantastic.
bonus. It's very different. So this is like 2 years volunteering with Luwap in the life insurance industry. That's the
Mm,
closest I've felt though in the serving side because they're not paid and they just serve their faces off. So it's like it's weird. It's like I'm not happy with my primary work as a life insurance agent, but I would still serve people who do that. Like it's like I can't say no to people like that. So I'm still finding my way. That's why I reached out to you and did this live. Maybe someone watching the replay. I hope you guys find your and girls also find your way, right? Maybe with your help, maybe with something they heard, something they felt, you know, something that made sense, right? So I just shared those highlights because they kind of calmed me down. I was like, okay, I don't have to control my dad because he's trying to control everything. So sounds simple, but we do it every day. It's, it drives me nuts. That's why I just did a live instead. So yeah, plus
yeah,
your
I hope
experiences. This is like the more I hear about you open up. Usually in the LifeKite, the workshops, you're the one listening.
correct.
So if anyone
Yeah,
ever heard your side of you sharing, for me that's a lot of gold. Also,
yeah,
it's like I hope they get to see the glimpse or they feel what it was like when you were in Mongolia. The people's feedback, extremely direct feedback to you, and yeah, like stuff you've shared. Because life is short, man. Like, who knows, man? I might go before you. So, and not to be morbid, I just that's just the way the universe, the world, made me, realize it. So, yeah, man. Like, thank you so much for the live. It's just a free flow conversation. It was just like for my own mental, emotional health, and you're like sharing a lot of clarity. And my favorite is it's based on your actual experience. So it's not like some cuentong barbero shit. Like you're in a
yep.
barber shop and people are making it up. Like I know it's real because I've been in some of the sessions that you did. Unbounded beingness and staffing. I think it's the birthday of Nico today. Like we were
Mm,
serving with Wes
yep.
in the BIS that time.
Before the
So
pandemic, yeah.
yeah, so yun, I just saw his birthday notification. So I was like, hey, he was serving like for Unbounded. Small world. So yeah, the more it's real, like that was my point. So super appreciated. I know you have like an 11 o'clock thing. You did a live
Yep, yep. I've
before
got to
it.
head out.
I got my blood extracted, so at least we got productive things done today.
Good.
So yeah, man.
Yeah, but
I
thank you for having me on, and I hope I was able to help out somehow. So thank you, Martin.
Yeah, I'll rewatch this. I have a feeling there's gonna be like good stuff. There's like maybe some way to annotate or make notes. Usually, that's what makes people want to watch it more. That's why I take notes. Yun, but a lot of good stuff in this one.
Nice. Thank you.
So we can end the live. I know you got your 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
Salamat. Have a good Saturday.
it's Saturday. So this is how we end it. Thank you. We love you, and we will see you next time.